Pardon me.
So we're looking for a bittersweet rivalry.
Yeah, so you might see some chatter back and forth.
It's not a good game if there's not any kind of semi-drama, I guess.
Yeah, and one thing to consider too is that a lot of the North American folks here have been to LAN events together, right? They've hung out in person, you know, had beers together between matches, so kind of gives you a little bit of a different relationship. Kind of more of a sibling relationship with your rivals. But in any case, yeah, this would be a very interesting match. Kicking off right now. Again, lots of points at stake. All right, players are ready. Here comes your countdown. 3, 2, 1. That it's game time, baby. Connex 5 here with Dusik, bringing you the last matchup of this regular season. Got Mesa versus Allstars. We've already talked about a lot at stake in this match. And right now, just a huge fight over that 100 armor room. And don't look now, but Mesa gets the full team wipe. And Hurley 4 kills on the board there.
It looks like everyone's spawning in quite close proximity as well, and yeah, it looks like they just want to completely dominate this first time they get there. And it's actually Allstars that managed to pick it up with reflex.
Yeah, so basically what happened was everybody met at that first armor. Mesa wiped them. They got 4 straight kills. Allstars respawned and completely answered right back, and then 4 straight kills for them. So basically both teams kind of ran into each other, headbutted, and and kind of came out even. Basically bounced off each other there. So got the shield belt up, reflex in great position. Reflex with a belt is going to be scary in any matchup. Definitely something to be avoided if you're facing up against him.
Yeah, we associated him with being a pretty crisp aimer, let's face it. And even without a belt, you still don't want to be facing him 1v1. He's just key in every situation, really, in every single minute of whatever goes by.
So Trick here, he still has 1 boot jump left. Oh, he saved it for the amp and missed it. He was just saving it, waiting for the opportunity to get up top. He misses it. Mesa scoops in and grabs the belt, or grabs the amp. Will go on board with Lass, who has it. Lass with the headshot on Fusion and a double kill. Only gets 2, but puts them back on the board. And Kuzki gets the pickup. He's facing down 2 Allstars members, though, and he goes down. But Mesa making early moves, aggressive with that amp. I like it.
Yes, it's looking like a lot of the All-Star team kind of just around each other all the time. They're not really playing a position-based game at the moment. It's all kind of like all jumbled together. It's going to be a pretty messy one by the looks of it.
So the way that Allstars was really able to disrupt SAS was by pushing them off of that shield belt room. That was kind of the basis of SAS's kind of strategy from there. And then they build out with Slay over in the 100 armor room, and then they kind of play from there. I think they're maybe trying to do that against Mesa. The thing is, Mesa, in part because there's no ping difference, I'm sure plays, you know, some amount of role. And also just their play style. Like, Mesa wants to get you in messy one-on-one team fight situations. They want to scrum with you. They're players that have played more elimination, more, you know, TAM and 2K4. You know, they want to just fight and get in your face and try to just outshoot you. And they're one of the few teams that can really do that to virtually anyone. I mean, I'm certainly not going to say that anyone's a better aimer than guys like, you know, Reflex and Fusion and them, but Mesa can hang with them if it gets messy. And in fact, look at that, up to a 7 frag lead for Mesa, not going anywhere early on in this one.
Yeah, and Wasty taking control of that shield belt as well. He did have the cover with him the entire time. No one even bothering to enter that room. Like a death sentence going into there, so well played from them, getting that shield belt.
So 500 more damage for Mesa. Only 1 more belt and 2 more 100 armors for Allstars. So Amp coming up big right there. We'll see what Wasty can do with it. It looks like he's going to take it to that belt room. So maybe actually taking a page out of Allstars' book here and just using the power-ups to try to control that key room, basically play out from there. Unfortunately, though, Wasty unable to find any targets. And in fact, he's out of ammo. So he's chasing down Reflex with Amped Enforcers. Lucky to get away. He'll be on the run now. Now, luckily for him, Amp's going to expire, so didn't actually gain much from that Amp, but didn't cough it up to their team either, which sometimes can be just as important.
Yeah, that was really good, actually, management from Wasty there as well. Just knowing when to back away, didn't chase the kill. He saw Reflex dodge down, could have probably went for it, but decided against it. That's actually a really good time to waste the amp.
Oh, 3 quick kills. It was a multi-kill with the Link by Fusion. Sorry to interrupt, but that was a clutch set of kills. It was 3 versus 1. He got 3 kills, and it's allowed him to grab that belt.
I'm trying to piece together what's happening with the All-Stars play at the moment. It's very scattered. I think they might be adopting a strategy which is very similar to what they did, and I'll echo you as well to how they disrupted SAS. It's just stacking the power-ups completely, and it looks like yeah, they're quite spread out at the moment, so not really sticking to that at the moment. But you're seeing 3 in the shield belt room right now. Amp coming up.
Yeah, I have to say, you know, we're going to look at the scoreboard and you're going to see like kills and deaths and damage and all that. Right now, I think strategically, Fusion is keeping Allstars in the game right now. He has had multiple opportunities to basically give up the shield belt room, and he's fought his way out of them 2 or 3 times already. You saw him get a multi-kill with the Link gun. He's gotten multiple kills with the flat cannon when he was pinned down in there. The only reason they have any kind of control of that room is because of his play right now. And I think if that wasn't the way it was, it would be much more one-sided.
1.5k damage, 9 kills for his team at the moment, 8 deaths as well, so the least in the server, or joint least. Yep, holding his own pretty well right now.
And you can see Allstars grabbing that amp, very clear strategy, trying to push into the belt room. Pretty nice flanking there to take him out, but you do see Demon running around with 150, and Last able to grab that 100 armor. Looks like we're seeing pretty even Fusion on a rampage now. Again, highly efficient play by him, like we pointed out. Allstars taking the lead. Demon with 1 HP, putting down all sorts of damage. How is he still alive? They finally take him out, but he makes them pay. And sometimes damage. Ooh, Demon pushing in, and looks like belt room completely taken over by Mesa. We'll see what happens. Fantasy sneaks in, gets the kill with the shock rifle, and Inceptos now in tough spot. He goes down, and that was a big series of kills. Wasty runs in 3v1. He might go down. Yep, he does, and that was a big win by Allstars. They had multiple people stacked up in that belt room. Everyone on Mesa charged in and got just completely demolished, and that's why we've got an 8 frag difference now.
Yeah, we had a Fusion. He still hasn't died yet, by the way. He's still on that spree. He pushed up from the armor room, like completely. He was with 12 HP. Nowhere to go, and he still manages to come out alive with more than what he bargained for. Well played by Fusion again. And the amp
is up. We do have Fusion now. Yeah, with that amp, I was just waiting to see. Ooh, he misses a big shot and eats 2 rockets, and Septos with a clutch double kill. Now what can he do to bring it back? Big shot. 2 big shots on Demon. We're seeing both teams right now just hitting clutch shot after clutch shot. Still a bit of a lead by Allstars. But Mesa right in this one. We're not even halfway through. I feel like we've been playing for an eternity on this map.
It does feel like quite a while, gotta say. Fusion with a shield belt again, so...
A big rocket on reflex by Inceptos that we saw. 2 more kills, 3 more kills. Everyone on Allstars has gone down. Fusion still got control of that belt, but he's going to be the last one with any sort of control. But no armor on the side of Mesa. Take a quick look at the scoreboard. See 5 belts to 2 for Allstars, 9 vests to 5. That's going to start adding up. It's only a 1 frag lead, but this could be one of those games where Mesa ends up doing, you know, 1,000 more damage and losing. We've already seen that multiple times today. Right now, they've still got more damage on the board. If they can't get control of either of those armors, it's going to be a big problem in the long run.
Yep. So also Mesa needing to get a little bit more of that power-up control. As you've seen, the score really close, but also lack of power-up control. Well, I'd say lack. Just, oh man, well, we got half less by the looks of it as well. So gonna be key to getting back into the game, picking up those power-ups and Fusion controlling the 100 armor really well right now. Yeah,
Fusion just got an uncontested vest, pushing over to help, and look at that, another clear out. And Allstars basically doing exactly what they like to do, what we talked about SAS liking to do. They basically just all reconvened at that belt. And Fusion swept in with that vest, and both power-ups were essentially uncontested. And that's a big turning point. You saw when you have 2 or 3 players with 50+ armor, you can just push across the map, and you're not afraid of anybody at that point. And it doesn't mean you're invincible, but such a big advantage.
Seeing at the moment, I don't think jump boots not up for another 10 seconds. Amp is just waiting there, begging to be taken, and it has to have
boots
a
got
mesa
dropped on the ground there. Reflex has boots. He has no health, though. If he jumps up, he's probably going to go down. Last may have an opportunity to grab this amp. He does. We know that Last is very streaky with that sniper. If he can get in someone's face, he takes out Reflex, but he goes down to the pistol rather. And a belt completely uncontested. And this is where TDM gets tricky. You're past the halfway point. All your timings are off of, out of sync, out of the pattern. And right now, if you're Mesa, you have to find a way to get back at least timing. You have to at least control or negate these power-ups. Because right now, they don't even know when shield belt spawns. And that could be the game right there.
Yeah, I think what you do is you have a couple of minutes in the map where, or not even that, a minute, just so you can actually take two, like 100 armors, for example. So you got at least timing on one thing and then branch out from there. Do one thing at a time, and then the other one, you can start to kind of get a feel for when a player's not around that area. And
yeah,
you know
Reflex,
roughly when that time is coming up.
Reflex, Fusion, and Demon were all around that 100 armor right as it spawned, completely uncontested. There's been multiple armors in a row now that All-Stars have taken without a single Mesa player even shooting at it, and that all comes down to control, and that's that knowledge, right? Like you don't necessarily have to get a kill to gain an advantage in team deathmatch, and that's why you're seeing Mesa out shooting them. In fact, yeah, up to a couple hundred more damage on the board, and down by 13 now. Just not the first time we've seen it today, but when you control those power-ups, that's the difference there.
And just looking at it as well, Reflex has 75% sniper accuracy. That's just absolutely outrageous.
Oh, and he's got the amp on his side.
Oh, trouble.
Yeah, and that's with 70 plus shots fired, by the way. So that's not one of those like, oh, he took 10 shots and happened to hit 7. Like. And there we go. Looking to put it away. Went up to a 20 frag lead. So from the 5-minute mark, just running away with it as All-Stars. It's not over yet by any means, but the way that the power-up control is gone, Mesa, and this is one of the hardest humps to get over in team deathmatch, and this is something that we ran into from our teams, starting to play back in the day, is you can hang with the team, and when things get messy and the power-up timings get off and your strategy starts to break down, to be able to keep your composure when things get messy is one of the hardest things to do. And it looks like All-Stars is doing a better job of that in the second half.
Yeah, they definitely took the game to Mesa as well, made it a real mess of a game just to throw off their time, and I think they've actually executed it really well. It was a little bit shaky first kind of few minutes with Mesa gaining more of the advantage, but All-Stars coming back into it really, really nicely.
Yeah, now almost 1,000 more damage for All-Stars. Again, right around that 5-6 minute mark, last third of the game, All-Stars really turned it on. And again, we pointed out that was right after they took multiple belts and 100 armor vests in a row. And you can do that. You can be aggressive when everyone gets a selection of weapons, when everyone has armor. All of a sudden it's not a toe-to-toe, man-to-man matchup. It's, oh, I have double your health and armor. I don't care what you've got in your hands because I'm just going to take you out. And I think that's what we saw here. Up to a 25 frag lead. Looks like this one's going to be well in hand for All-Stars now, but definitely some harrowing moments early on in this map. Mesa definitely took it to them for the first half.
Yeah, looking at it as well, 9 shield belts for All-Stars and 1,700 armors, whereas 700 armors for Mesa and 3 shield belts, and that's where the game has been effectively lost to this point anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, if you add those together, right, you're looking at 26 to 10 total big armors, we'll say, even 14 to 750 armors. I mean, that just adds up. That means I almost wish we could see a stat for like average health and armor throughout the course of a game, because I bet All-Stars would have double it.
Yeah.
And that means
absolutely.
that means you have to not just outshoot someone, that means you have to outshoot someone by twice, right? You have to do twice the damage to get a kill, and that's just not going to happen.
No, exactly. I mean, if you're thinking at it like that, if you're calculating the 100 armor, and putting it as an average, that's like an extra 2,000 or so damage that you have to go through, and that's just a tall ask in a 15-minute matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if Reflex has double your health and he's shooting 70% sniper, that means you have to shoot 140% sniper, and that's just cheating.
Yeah, not happening.
So, I mean, it must be said, Mesa in the second half here has actually, more or less slowed it down. I mean, we saw a big burst around that 5-6 minute mark. But Mesa have kept their composure and kept it, I won't say close, but pretty much steady from that point. But Again, last minute, not really a whole lot going to happen here. We'll take a look at some of the armors and some of the stats going on. It's just been kind of growing the last few minutes. All-Stars running away with it, but not a bad opening. I mean, Mesa, again, started off 4-0. All-Stars answered back, and it was just back and forth since then, and then right around that halfway point. Big game for Reflex. 5,200
really
damage.
Game.
We'll take a look at the stats just for giggles. And going to end up with 60+% sniper with 40 shots fired. Okay, I was looking at the shots before, but still, that's kind of ridiculous.
Just a standard day at the office for Reflex, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for a while, right? Like, this isn't, nobody's necessarily shocked, but, you know, just a great game.
Yeah, that was a real pound-for-pound type of game. And it was like the most muscle kind of won that one. That was an entertaining one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that one ended up relatively one-sided, but I mean, you go back and watch that one. I mean, the first half was harrowing. It was back and forth. And you know, like I said, it's tough when you're especially still gelling as a TDM team, when you get to those situations where you're having to regroup and reestablish, you know, your strategy. That's, I think, probably the hardest thing. Even once you get into your pickup discipline, your timing discipline, like we talked about LATAM in particular as a comparison, another team that's been up and coming, they've got that down. And even once you get that down, you get your strategy A, your plan A down to a science. Then when all that goes awry and there's 5 minutes left and all the timings are out the window, you still have to come up with a way to gather yourself. We've seen teams like SAS who've been playing together for 1,000 years, you know, find a way to do that. Defiance, though, this is an interesting map because this is a map that Mesa has been favoring. I'm not actually sure. Let me go check that as we wait for the downloads. I'm not sure which pick was which here. Looks like
I can't see All-Stars picking this map.
I would imagine. I think based on what I've seen that would be Mesa's pick, because they've been liking Defiance. They've been picking it in matches. A couple of them now. Fantasy has UT3 experience, so certainly he would be no stranger to this map.
Yeah. So also we had the changes from season 2 as well, where we had the what was it? The shock and rocket swapped over, didn't we? So
Yeah,
that kind of changed the flow of the game a little bit.
there was a couple of changes compared to the. Oh, looks like okay. I'm still downloading. Yeah, I had to clear out all my packs earlier to get in the server today, so having to re-download live on stream. I know, exciting progress bar action. But it's coming. But yeah, I was going to say, you see the bans coming up. I mean, you saw actually Sid Castle being the first ban, Nitro being the second ban, Tempest being the first pick, which I believe would be higher rank, so that would be All-Stars pick, and Defiance being pick B, which I believe would be Mesa's. So kind of interesting to me to see Tempest being the pick by All-Stars, actually.
I'm surprised knowing that. I mean, you just shot against Reflex for one, who is I'm guessing is going to be controlling the sniper area. I mean, where else would you play him? Around the 100 armor, around the sniper, around the amp. That's like a hit scanner's dream right there.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting though, because again, whenever it's messy, whenever you go in toe to toe with, you know, let's just say even health and armor, Mesa's proven that they can at least challenge All-Stars. They can make it hard for them. So if this strategy, oh, here we go, we're already live. So here you go, 3, 2, 1. Man, it's game time, baby. ConX5 jumping in from map 2 here with Dusik. We've got All-Stars versus Mesa starting off quick. Map 2 is here on Defiance, going from a UT99 demo map to a UT3 map. So jumping all over the series. We saw an early challenge on Tempest by Mesa, but All-Stars ended up running away in the last few minutes. We'll see what happens here. Remember, Mesa only needs 1 point in this matchup to solidify a 4th place finish. Otherwise, they will be going down to 5th seed, which forces them to miss a bye. So a lot to play for here.
All right, so it's pretty interesting at the moment. I just wanted to see where Reflex would be playing. He's actually playing around the shock area.
So the interesting thing about that is whoever plays shock is going to be on a bit of an island. I think Kuzgi tends to play that for Mesa. And maybe like Last gives him help while while the other guys stick to that sniper area. The sort of prevailing strategy that we've seen teams use is basically just live or die by that shock rifle, or by the sniper rifle area. And I don't think that's the only way to play this map, but that's kind of the default strategy that teams have been employing. So it's always interesting to see what happens when one team has that strategy, you know, whenever they have control of that room. What is your plan B? What is your other strategy to counter that?
We're looking at it as well, killing Fusion around the 100 armor area. Where is Fantasy? Okay, are they playing?
We do have Amp up in 3 seconds. Fusion gonna jump up top. We don't see people using the jump boots a lot in this map to steal Amp. I wouldn't call it a steal, but a great job using that back angle to grab it, and now he's got 100 armor on top of it, and Fusion with Amp Sniper and 100 armor. This is gonna be very dangerous. Wasty wisely chasing him down with Link though, because he knows he's weak, but there's the killing spree by Fusion, who, again, you're gonna look at the scoreboard last map on Tempest, and you're gonna say, okay, Fusion had a decent game, but, you know, nothing major, but strategically, he was huge for controlling that belt room.
Yeah, he was. He was perhaps player of the map for that one. He was vital in what everything was going on for Allstars as well. Kept him in the game.
Yeah, you see him going down there, but obviously a big start to the game for Fusion as well. And 2 players with 100+ armor for Allstars, 1 for Mesa. I almost wish we could see a total of like total armor for each team, because I guarantee when you see teams like approach power-ups and such, has a huge effect. We do have this 100 armor spawning soon. Back up a little bit and see Kuski with the rockets on Fantasy trying to push him away, and the nice snipe by Wasty. So Mesa converging, so they've got control of the sniper area. Can they hold them off? It looks like they will, and then this is Allstars' turn. Okay, what does Allstars do to try to combat that? You have belt spawning too, alongside this Amp. Last might get a free grab of this Amp. And look at that, multiple Mesa players just going down in heaps. All 3 of them go down, going for that belt. And that's the difference maker. Whenever you walk in, you've got 60 HP going up against 100 HP and 50 armor. What do you do?
Yeah, you've got to hope that your player misses shots and you can get some nice kind of rocket kill or a nice combo just to put them in a little bit of danger. But apart from that, if you're going pound for pound, not a lot you can do versus that.
So we are seeing, though, this is an interesting time in this match, because pretty big lead here for Allstars, but they're not pushing this sniper room very hard. They're letting Mesa kind of have it while they circle back around, and they might just be backing up to that shock rifle area. Let's go see if we can take a look at that. Remember, there's no armor back in that room like there used to be. So maybe they're all just trying to arm themselves with shock rifles. Right as I say that, it looks like they're pushing over. We do have belt spawning soon. Reflex going to have belt all to himself. Nobody challenging it.
Oh, wow. Have they given up on this?
I think maybe Mesa has lost timing of the belt. Unfortunately for Allstars, he saved it for his teammate, but that'll allow Wasted to move over. At the very least, they'll have timing of it now. So that could have been even worse for Mesa, but instead they do give up a couple kills, and right now Allstars is really turning it on as they've got control of the map. Extra armor and health across the board. Amp is up, and if this Amp goes well for Allstars, they could really put it out of reach.
Yeah, so it's really unselfish play from Reflex there as well. He could have probably taken the shield belt when no one was around, just so I could mess with timing for Mesa a little bit more, but opted to keep his teammate a little bit more healthy.
Yeah, distributing that armor is always a good thing. You'd rather have 2 people with 100 armor than 1 with 150. Kind of, again, like adding to your total team armor, if you will. Killing right now, actually having trouble finding targets, but right as I say that, he finds Inceptos. Oh, nice combo up to Kuski. Max damage, 255. Reflex on a rampage, and you know, again, relatively uncontested. Belt's going to spawn right now, and nobody on Mesa in position. This is starting to look like the second half of Tempest already. A little bit earlier this time, where Mesa has kind of lost their composure as far as being in position for power-ups. And this is what I meant. Like, so now we see Allstars taking back control of that Sniper 100 area. What does Mesa do? What is their plan B? And that's what you have to have kind of set up ahead of time, right? Like, if they do bum rushes, if they do push us out, they use amp or whatever to kill us, you can't just keep diving into that room one at a time, because then you're just going to grind out kills for them.
No, I think what you do in this one, like if it was me, I'd be kind of focusing more towards the shield bit under 50 armor, just taking some control in that room. and building up from there. I mean, there's still 9 minutes left. Focusing on one thing for a couple of minutes is not really too much of an issue.
Yeah, and you look at the scoreboard, not a single shield belt for Mesa. 5-0 so far for Allstars. 6-400 armors, which again, like, talks about the point we've been saying, which is Mesa's actually done a pretty decent job of holding that room. Unfortunately, Allstars has an answer for it. And that answer is maintain control of the belt and shock. You know, they've been stacking up on 50 armors. They've been doing tons more damage. And they've had double the amp time. So they basically said, if you want to take snipers and 100 armors, that's fine. We'll grab literally everything else on the map.
Yeah, and you can see there as well, like, in the play of All-Stars, you can see the communication, if you know what I mean. You can see one of them, you know, leaving the armor for another, one of them rotate into another. What a headshot that was from Wasty, by the way.
Yeah, watching Wasty with this amp, and we've seen him go nuts on this map in the past. Like, this is a fairly mid-range heavy map. You're not going to have any really long, easy kind of corridors to shoot around. And he's kind of a twitchy aimer, so he can really shine in amp runs on this map. But I can almost, as someone who's been in that position before, if you're Mesa right now, you almost look around and you go, okay, we did it. We controlled, we got what we wanted. We're controlling our objective. Hey, why are we still losing? Right? Like, you sort of have to start thinking and reevaluating what your goals are for the game at that point.
Yeah,
because they are doing it. They're controlling sniper, they're controlling 100, but they're still giving up kills.
Yeah, and looking at the damage there as well, it's another kind of muscle game as well by the looks of it. 7,300 damage for All-Stars now, 6,100, so over 1,000 more. And looking at the Killing's damage there as well, really doing a great job for his team, 2,600 damage.
Yeah, it's interesting to keep an eye on the weapons out as well, because what we're seeing is All-Stars often have 3 players with shock rifles in their hands, because while they're not getting the sniper. Oh, nice grab of the amp by Inceptos using those boots. Again, I don't think you see enough teams making use of those jump boots in this map. Oh, big double kill with the flak with that amp. Remember, we're only halfway through this game, so if a couple of big amp runs can knock All-Stars off of their comfort zone, there's another big kill. Still a 20 frag lead, but everyone on All-Stars is respawning right now, and Inceptos is going bonkers with the amp. Fusion comes in to take him out, but you know, if you can disrupt them now, anything can happen.
That's a really good play from Mesa as well, and they will probably have the timing on the shield belt. Probably the first time in the map. There's not really been any kind of luck getting to that shield belt area at all. So they're probably gonna have
still 8-0 on belts. It's interesting to see the discrepancy on the 50 armors as well. This is a map where the 50 armors kind of get forgotten. Ooh, big flak ball, but Fantasy survives with 2 HP and eats a flak ball across the map from Inceptos. And then Fantasy's rocket kills Inceptos. Somebody go back and live replay that. That was just a ridiculous series of events. It was like a Rube Goldberg machine. But anyway, just an insane series of projectiles there. It looked like some synchronized Vegas show. And in the end, still a 22 frag lead for All-Stars.
So they steady the ship, which is one main thing as well. That's what you want to do. You want to stop the lead getting away from you, and you build up from there as well. So, okay, we've got the lead kind of narrowed down a little bit. Let's try and rack some kills up on the... We're seeing...
Yeah, it's stabilized, and Amp is up right now, and nobody is by it. I just saw Reflex see it, so he just told Fusion to go grab it. But yeah, nobody was in position for that Amp, so things are starting to get messy. Same point of the map we talked about on Tempest. A little past the halfway point. All of your timings, you know, you can't rely on the patterns of every, 30 seconds, every minute, whatever. And this is when you have to have people in position to get that information.
That's a nice kill by Fusion as well. Gonna grab the 100 armor as well, denying another opportunity for Mesa to get kind of any control, any foothold in the map.
Yeah, and this is starting to look a lot like again we did see on Tempest, where as things get a little chaotic with the timing of everything, and I think Mesa's hold over that sniper area has been disrupted a little bit, as it looked like Kuzki finally got a couple of belts under control. Of course, going up against Reflex is never going to be easy, even with the belt, but it looks like they basically given up a little bit of control of that 100 armor area in order to challenge those shield belts. But, that means, they're going to have fewer people back in that sniper room. So what are they going to do, with that? And it looks like All-Stars knows how to respond. Looks like they've been a little bit more aggressive since then, pushing through and back up to, again, 20-plus lead.
Yeah, I think that's been the catalyst of it all as well, is that Allstars just playing that a little bit more aggressive, wanting the power-ups a little bit more as well, and they're kind of full sending right on there.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the amp up right now, and this could be an amp run. You see, Kuzki probably took a peek at it and saw it. Neither team seems to be timing the amp, which is kind of interesting as far as keeping track of it. I think it's just been so chaotic. And Septos with a free grab. He has 100 armor. If they're going to try to make something happen, this is the time. He needs to try to find targets. They already missed out on the belt, but they can just find someone to shoot at. And this is where, on a big, complex map like this, you're really relying on your teammates.
Yeah, and no one's in his lines at the moment. He's struggling to find people.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like not a whole lot happening with that amp. And this is one of those maps where if you keep track of the amper, you can kind of play ring around the rosy and stay out of their line of sight. So the scoreboard's going to show control of the amp, you know, kind of going over to Mesa, but oh, nice flak balls there by Inceptos. Doesn't get the follow-up sniper, but I was saying kills with amp and the actual efficacy of the amp, I think, still in All-Stars' favor as far as what they've done with them when they've grabbed them.
Absolutely.
Oh, the goo.
Oh,
in
no.
the mid-air. And Septos not thrilled about that one, but does go down. Last with a little bit of armor. We'll see what he can do with it. Still about an 800 damage advantage. So it was really that big push towards the middle of the map. All-Stars took control, pushed it up to about a 15 or so frag lead. It's kind of been hovering a little bit above that since then, but ever since then, it's been relatively even, but it's just that big push, and we've seen that in past seasons too. These top tier teams, if they knock you on their heels, they follow up, and they just, one frag becomes 4, becomes 8, they wipe your team 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden you're down 15 instead of 2.
Yeah, it's that domino effect, isn't it? As soon as you get a couple of the clean wipes out and a couple of spawn kills, that can tilt your kind of mindset a little bit, and especially if you can't get hold of any guns or any power-up, it's really frustrating to do so. And Allstars doing a really good job at depriving Mesa of that. I think we're seeing more of a mental battle as well, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, although one thing to keep in mind, I mean, if you're, I guess, the coach, right? If you're Mesa, you have to keep reminding yourself, like, we don't need 5 points in this matchup. We just need really the 1 to stay ahead of LATAM. That's really what their goal should be. And so these 4v4 maps, well, I think they were pretty good opportunities for them, and they've definitely played well in the beginning of the matches. They can also take some confidence boosters from them. I mean, you know, the fact that they were ahead so early. Ooh, on Tempest as Kuzki runs out of rockets, but you know, they can basically say, okay, we can get him, we can take him in 2v2. We feel a little bit better. You know, Killing is certainly having some internet issues, so we'll see who ends up playing in the 2v2 there. Actually, his connection looks like it's stabilized a lot this game. I'm not sure what voodoo he did or what you know, what chicken he sacrificed, but looks like he's back down to a 52 ping, which makes a big difference. He was all over the place in earlier matches. So if you're going up against Killing and Reflex 2v2, that's certainly not going to be easy. But yeah, that's one opportunity, and of course you still have 2 duels afterwards.
Yeah, and just echoing that as well, like for All-Stars as well, they just want to bounce back from this Saints and Sinners game that they played a few hours ago. So for them, it's going into the playoffs with a really, really strong mindset. And I think Mesa as well do not have anything to be negative about. They've actually played a really good game. I think the scores are not a true reflection on how the game has been, like for the most part anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those games where they sort of just got out experienced. Like, Mesa largely did what they wanted to do, especially in the middle part of the game. We saw them take over the sniper area, take over that 100 armor, and they controlled that room. And like I said, then they looked around and they kind of went, okay, now what? Because they were so used to teams just challenging them after that. And instead, All-Stars sort of backed up, rotated around the map, and fought from the other side. And that's high-level TDM, and I just don't think Mesa had really come up against that as much before. But that's a good experience, right? That's a good learning moment there, I suppose.
Especially going into playoffs as well. If you're going to solidify and get yourself that bye as well, you then got that week to scrim. You then got that reflection on that week as well. And, you know, countless VOD reviews and stuff like that. There's so many options for Mesa. I think the sky is the limit for them going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the playoff system as well. You know, even if you're a team like that, like, You talk about All-Stars wanting to end the season with momentum and confidence and even just get practice in. Frankly, I mean, they, like all of these matches here, they're not going to move up in the ranking, but they're all just that much more practice getting ready for next week. Every game you play, you try to get better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the pattern that we're seeing with Mesa as well. And give them guys credit, like going from a kind of put together team. I know they know each other and everything like that, but then actually doing part of it is a lot harder than the theory side of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was always one of my favorite parts, was theory crafting, jumping around on a new map or in a new game and going, oh, you could run somebody here to here, and you could set people up here, and when this happens, you could do this, and when this happens, you kind of like try to flow chart how a game would go. And then when you get in there, like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right?
Yeah, it never goes that way. You always have the game plan. It never is 100% stuck to.
So interesting map choice here. Let's see. Looks like solo, and it looks like Codex will be map 2. Interesting.
Those are great, lovely maps.
So Killing looks like he's in. Again, it looks like his connection has really solidified. So hopefully that won't be a factor. You imagine Reflex could be their 2v2 unless they want to use him for duel. I mean, these are both... Okay, it looks like he's saying Reflex coming back for 2v2. These are both teams with pretty deep rosters, and they can kind of shuffle some people around strategically if they want to.
Yeah, so looking at it, I think it's going to be Fantasy and Demon who are going to be up in the duel.
Yep, and so you're looking at this, and you got Killing and Reflex versus Wasty and Inceptos. Wasty and Inceptos, two players that are both, I think, less about that TDM life and more about just being pure fraggers. But anything can happen when you've got pure aim on the board, and I think, Reflex and Killing have a little bit more experience, but if they can get hot, I mean, Inceptos and Wasty are both really high-level fraggers. If you just put guns in their hands and just put them head-to-head against someone else, like, in any given scenario, they can sometimes make just ridiculous things happen. So I do think Reflex and Killing have a bit of an advantage with the experience here.
Yeah, I would agree. And also as well, you put Reflex in there as well, who can do just about the same in terms of the aiming part of it. Killing, we know, can absolutely just damage people. We're seeing him with a lot of damage, and his ping is actually really good now. So I think he's ready to go. Put it that way, he had an 80 ping earlier to the server. So
yeah, I mean, he's definitely settled down. I mean, for those who don't know, I believe Killing, I believe the story is he recently moved and internet hasn't, been, broadband's not available there or something, or he has to get that figured out. So he's been on like a hotspot or something. I mean, something less than ideal, we'll put it that way. So again, who knows? Hopefully that's not a factor in this game. You'd certainly like to beat someone at their best, though. If you're Mesa at this point, like I say, you're just kind of building towards one step at a time, trying to get that point on the board. They're definitely, they're guaranteed a playoff spot, right? So even worst case scenario, if they give up 5 points to All-Stars, it's not the end of the world. But it would be definitely nice to take that 4th place spot and get that first round bye.
yeah, exactly. You want to go straight through to the Sunday. You want to have that extra day off. You don't want to be playing 2 days in a row, even though it's a night's sleep. Killing, I love how I'm not lagging now. Yeah, we're seeing you, Killing. Don't worry about it. The point I was trying to make. Actually, I don't remember the point I was going to make. It will come back to me.
It'll come back. I mean, it's the middle of the night. You're probably gonna wake up at like, oh yeah, Killing, commenting about how he's not lagging now compared to SAS. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but again, if he's on a hotspot or something like that, whatever his connection is, things can get weird. And Septos suggesting that there's no more high ping advantage. Well, that's a comment I'll just let live by its own, on its own.
Reflex in the server and Gargod out. The suitable sub.
Yeah, I think Gargod was on the roster, so it's all legit.
Yeah, no jokers needed.
One thing I am curious about, I'm not sure how that works in the playoffs. That's not something that, you know, we have to know today, but I'm curious how far ahead of time teams have to declare like their duelers and such.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely get some more information on that. Not too sure. I'm expecting probably some announcements midweek. So it's
Yeah, I mean,
reasonable amount of
for
time.
those of you who aren't aware, UTPL, it's our 3rd season, and we haven't done a playoff before this season, so a little bit new structure, a little bit of a new format from this point moving forward. So it's an adventure.
Yeah, I actually quite like the playoff drama as well, because you wouldn't get kind of matches like this where mesa every point counts, and you just get all of these kind of playoff scenarios that you can have. I love it personally. I think it's a great addition.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gives you the feeling that anything can happen, especially with some of these, you know, quick up-and-coming teams that we keep talking about. But, you know, you get situations where before it was just the final rankings, right? And so the difference between finishing 4th and finishing 5th, you know, kind of sort of mattered. I don't remember the exact prize payouts. There might have been some, you know, differences. But when you get to this point and you're just seeding playoffs, it's like, yeah, it matters because of the possibilities, right? 4th place versus 6th place matters because of, you know, the possibility that you can get hot in the playoffs and really make a run.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I quite like it that it's a league format and then a playoff format as well. And playing the home away, like it's one game kind of matters kind of thing. Like it shortens the season, which is nice. And the playoffs just gives you that extra kind of match week. And I feel like as well with the league format and with a playoff format at the end of it, it just adds that little bit more flavor and a little bit more spice to the end of the cup, or the league, should I say rather.
All right, looks like we're all ready to go. Here is your countdown. 3, 2, 1. Then it's game time, baby. Connex 5 here with Dusik, bringing you the 2v2 portion of this matchup now. We just saw both 4v4 maps taken by Allstars. Mesa still needs another point in this matchup somehow, some way. Killing and Reflex are not going to make it easy, but another opportunity to start from scratch here for Mesa.
Yep, and with that in mind, only the 1 point needed was it for them to guarantee 4th, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. LATAM has fought their way into a tie with them, but they currently own the tiebreaker, I believe. I'm not even 100% sure on that. We'll let the admins chime in on that, but they own the head-to-head, and I think it might come down to that, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll double-check all that. I don't want to make any promises here. It's unofficial. One way or another, Mesa can end all of that talk just by getting a point on the board here. Then they'll have 23 versus LATAM's 24. And then none of those algorithms and supercomputers we need to kick on to figure it out.
I suppose if they get it done early and if they get it done in these 2v2s, they can breathe a little bit of sigh of relief and just kind of enjoy the duels, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what we saw SAS versus Allstars. The end, ooh, and Septos goos himself. Some people pay good money to see that. Instead, giving it away for free to the audience here. But yeah, sometimes you'll see, you know, when you're at the end of a match and the seedings have already been determined, you kind of just let loose and have a little bit of fun. That's what we saw from the end of SAS versus Allstars. Demon coming in, actually got to play all 3 game types, essentially for a show match, so they didn't really contest it. Ooh, big kill on Wasty there to negate that amp. Dead even here, another great start, but that might have been a shot on his teammate. Reflex there, couldn't tell who he hit with that amp. It might have been killing. Does get the kill though, takes a quick 2-frag lead. Oh, and Wasty hits him with some nice link, but then goes down. Reflex just continues to be on fire today.
Yep, fresh from his Apex tournament. His mouse and keyboard, hands and whatnot are already warmed up, so just putting it into UT practice, and he was pretty much warm already, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing tournament level games all day, right? So his adrenaline has already been pumped, cleared, pumped, and cleared. So he's just nice and calm and relaxed and focused now.
I will say as well, when you're playing many hours of the same game over and over and over again and switching games, just to have that mental attitude just to keep on pushing through and performing at a high level, that's mentally draining. So
Yeah, I think the advantage he has is that the games are so different. Sometimes it can keep you from falling asleep. When you have to play a
Yeah.
tournament, like if you've ever had to play a long tournament for the same game where you're playing for 5, 6, 7 hours straight, you're like, oh man, the first hour becomes a blur, and like the 7th hour looks just like the second one, and it's hard to keep your focus. But at least changing games, you're like, okay, my crosshair looks different, my movement is different. It kind of forces you to think. Ooh, Killing coming away with that amp, only 18 HP. He goes down. This could be a critical moment there, but then Wasty goes down. Amp gets picked up and dropped by Inceptos, just trading amps back and forth. Killing actually drops it back for Reflex. Somehow Reflex ends up and gets an amped headshot and then goes down again. There's just a flurry of kills back and forth for both sides. Killing's got an amp. I'll try to follow him. And then he gets a kill. So what was actually kind of a slow pace for the last couple minutes picked up immediately once that amp popped.
It's been the story of this entire game, really. I mean, even though it's been the opposite way around. It's usually been absolutely hectic to begin with and slow kind of in the middle. But this is
Killing
a little bit
threw
now.
that shock rifle a mile. I just want to point that out, but Killing works out.
Pro javelin Olympic thrower at service.
Ooh, close range flak. I think Killing took himself out with that one. Big flak ball to follow it up though, so damage coming all over the place. Mesa hanging in there on this one. Hanging around, but if they can, I think they're going to need an amp run to really break it open and try to get back into it.
With that last amp run as well, Killing managed to spawn on the rockets, just completely full send it towards that amp where he dropped it. And managed to get the kill. I think it was on Wasty who dropped it, and here's another amp by Killing.
Yeah, Killing really settling in. Again, his ping also doing the same. When you've been playing with inconsistent ping all day, sometimes it can mess with your head, and then you finally get into it. It's almost like playing with a medicine ball. You go in and you're like, oh, now my movement works, so now my shots go where I point them. Oh, this is so much easier, guys, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Killing right now, just going nuts with this amp. And this is one of those maps. It's a small map. It's a dual map that also gets played 2v2. So when someone grabs amp and has armor, it's just so hard to get away from them. It's easy for them to go on long killing sprees like that because you just run around and you basically just spawn kill.
Yeah, and he's extending the spree here as well. And, I think 1 or 2 from Rampage now. So he's stepped up a lot more.
You got another quick look at the scoreboard. 1,000 more damage for Allstars, and they're really turning it on, especially with those amp runs. 5 belts to 0. 6 to 400, so Mesa doing a decent job contesting those, but basically no amp time for Mesa, and that's just going to be a killer. When you see Reflex going on those runs and killing with those amps and just popping out 3-4 kills in a row, you multiply that out over the course of a game, and that's just going to completely sink them.
Yeah, now I think about it, I don't actually remember Mesa challenging for a shield belt. So are they focused on this 100 armor?
Yeah, I don't know. Belt is actually up right now. We'll head over to it. Looks like Inceptos sort of maybe accidentally stumbled upon it. He did grab one, though, so that's all that matters. They will have timing of it, if nothing else now. Sometimes, we talked about before, it can be easy to lose track of power-ups towards the middle of a game as it gets a little chaotic, but there's no excuse for them not to at least have timing. And right now, Allstars, one thing they've gotten really good at is isolating players. I mean, you see Killing now. Obviously, the amp helps. But we saw that come into play earlier in the 2v2s where when one team can pull a player up, you know, kind of pull them from the herd and just fight them 1v2, it almost doesn't matter what your health and armor is. When you've got double the weapons shooting at you, you just die so quickly in this game.
Yeah, 2v1 situations, I mean, especially if you're spraying both of them down with a link, I mean, that's just a scary combo there as well. And that's a lovely juggle from Killing on Inceptos.
Yeah, Incepto's not real happy about it, but we just heard like 3 announcer callouts in a row on that one. Maybe a quick look at the scoreboard, and again, just kind of slowly grinding away. I mean, Allstars, minute to minute, it's just like +1 kill, +1 kill, +2 kills, and it hasn't been, other than a couple amp runs, there hasn't been any massive burst of dominance by Allstars. They're just sort of slowly maintaining control. Uh-oh, and Killing's connection feels like it might be spiking a little bit on him. They do have a big enough lead that I don't know how much of an issue that's going to be. Does grab Amp. Oh, doesn't stop him from hitting a turnaround sniper shot. And another one. And another one killing right now. Oh, killing, going, dominating. And there is the concession. Not going to give him the satisfaction of trying to extend that lead. But yeah, I mean, 41-10. Looks like it was pretty well over past the halfway point. But I mean, look at the power control. I mean, just completely one-sided. And much like the other maps, I mean, Mesa can stand toe-to-toe with All-Stars and can compete with them frag for frag, shot for shot. But when you've got that huge of an advantage with power-ups, it doesn't matter.
Yep, and you've seen the experience come out there as well. 116 seconds on the amp, and may I add as well, they were pretty important seconds on the amp as well. They actually done something with it. So again, complete control. I think they got the shield belt. I think it was Inceptor, so I managed to pick up the shield belt just running along his way, really. And Codex, which is Killing's temple, to be honest with you. Could be a little bit ugly.
Yeah, I mean, Codex, I think, is a map, too, where it's a little bit bigger. So if you do find yourself down or find yourself needing to catch a breather, it's also a map where if the opponents have amp and are just blowing you up, I think it's easier to kite them, easier to bait them, easier to avoid them on Codex than on a smaller map like Solo. But it does require just map knowledge and a little bit of trickeration. If you can bait an amp runner to like going up a lift up top and chasing you there, right? Classic move, throw the rockets up there, catch them. There's some things you can do to defend yourself on Codex, but we've seen All-Stars go nuts on that map before as well.
Yeah.
One thing to watch out for, Codex is an interesting map in that middle area, the crossroads leading, kind of in the middle of the map, but towards that 100 armor area. So many times flak comes up big because that area is just like so tight, and you can throw flat balls over the ledge and you can turn the corner and just instantly juice people into a miss. Like, if someone's hot with the flat cannon, they can do a ton of damage. And this is the middle of the map. I'm showing it on stream. Call it whatever you want. I kind of call it the crossroads. It's like a big T in the intersection of a bunch of different sections of the map. Flat comes up huge. You have so many fights in here where it's like combos versus flat primary. If someone gets hot with a flak and gets 2 or 3 kills in a row, that can turn a match around. But anyway, we're going to ready up and see where this goes. All right, here is your countdown. 3, 2, 1. And it's game time, baby. Connex 5 here with Deucic. We're bringing you map 2 of All-Stars versus Mesa. All-Stars right now yet to drop a map. Mesa's been challenging, but we'll see what they can do this map to try to turn it around.
Yeah, they have to start getting a foothold of power-ups. They've been really lackluster when it's been coming to the big power-ups as well. They're actually doing something with them. Amp is going to be absolutely critical.
Oh, Wasty just dunking and dinking with these flak balls. This is what I was talking about. Flak can come up huge in this map just because of the way it's designed. Obviously, shock is huge. Shock is massive in every map, but the flak can just catch people by surprise.
And there was no surprise element about that. You just spamming it and hoping he would catch someone, and actually managed to put some pretty decent damage in.
All right, so we have shield belt spawning soon. Nice rockets coming out, taking him out. Belt is up, and Septos looks like he got his hands on it. Let's try to go on board with him. He's going to bring it over to the 100 armor, which got taken. Oh, and there's the rockets, double teaming, killing. And that's what I was talking about from last game. We saw All-Stars doing a great job of focusing players down, splitting them up. That's such a big thing in 2v2.
Yeah, and All-Stars at the moment buying into it, but I think experience will carry them over just a few moments once that's all settled down, really.
Oof, yeah, killing. Somehow Inceptos unable to get that kill. He had him in a corner. Reflex grabbing that amp. That's going to be a big problem to let him get away with that all game long. Wasty's going to respawn right in front of him. Oh, gets him around the corner. I don't know why Wasty didn't run away there. You see Reflex with an amp, you pretty much just look for a place to hide. So they have shot themselves right back into it, but oh, the goo almost smacks him down.
He's not going to have to clip his right toe now, put it that way. That was a close one.
And the lead now going right back to Allstars. Incepto's typing. I mean, I think he thought he had grabbed that 100 armor. The game thought otherwise. You know, I'll let the server logs tell the story, but server always wins. And Reflex just staying sharp, turning that corner, combo to primary, looking very comfortable. Allstars is settling in here. Now, what does Mesa do to regroup? I don't hate the idea of chasing him down with Stinger, but you need your teammates there 2v1. Instead, they got shot down from behind by Killing. And that's up to a 5 frag lead.
Yeah, I think Inceptos needs to just put a lid on it for now and just trying to contain a little bit and try and use that frustration into more positive, really. I mean, he's letting it. He's typed quite a fair bit in the server, and things haven't gone his way. And you know, that's the true reality of gaming and life itself.
Big flak shots there by Wasty, and another one by Reflex. These two just blasting each other with the flak. And Reflex down to 34 HP, down to 11 HP. He'll have the amp, but anything will kill him, and he grabs the belt. Such a huge grab. He had 11 HP. Anything would have coughed on him that could have killed him. Instead, he's going to run around completely stacked now, get one instant kill. Looking for another 2 sniper shots. We know how comfortable he's been shooting out of his mind today. And there's the killing spree. Again, 11 HP when he grabbed that amp.
Oh, wow.
Finally goes down to those rockets, but 50% sniper. Only 8 shots fired by Reflex so far, but certainly feeling nice and comfy right now. 100 armor is up, and actually kind of surprised to see neither team in position for it. They're both a little late. Reflex circles around to grab it, but takes some damage. Down to 8 HP. One shot could take him out, but Inceptos can't connect. And Mesa, once again, they've gone down and they've kind of stabilized, but we've seen this in the prior maps. Unfortunately for them, they haven't seemed to be able to find a way to reestablish control, which, granted, you know, the other team has something to say about that. I mean, Reflex and Killing, one of the top 2v2 teams in the world for a reason, but we'll see what they can do as this lead just kind of gets pushed, inches its way higher and higher.
Yeah, and look at the healing as well. Look at how much healing Allstars have already. I mean, compared to Mesa as well, so it could be a lack of just being a bit too aggressive, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's no keg in this map. There's actually not even all that many vials in this map, so it's not like they've been stacking that up, and that's been a huge game changer. Just been coming away with those kills, and you know, again, you see his health in the red, down to 41 HP.
Yeah,
we've seen that so many times. I mean, we saw, you saw Reflex earlier in the game, 11 HP, and manages to get the amp and the belt and health and go on a killing spree, and it's like those opportunities, right? You've been 1 or 2 shots away from turning things around if you're Mesa, but and Killing actually takes himself out there, a little bit of a favor. And look at that, all the way right back up to 150 armor because they had control of that belt.
Yeah, Reflex doing a really good job as well. Just covering his teammate there, and it's something as simple things that goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be a classic. It's very easy to point out, but you multiply those moments across an entire match, the experience level, right? Because he wasn't even dead yet, and you know, he was dying when Reflex was like, "Okay, here, I'll leave you the belt. You can grab it." That conversation was already being had like 2 steps ahead of time, and that's the experience advantage there.
Lead is 20 already, and another 100 armor for Allstars. I'm looking at that story there as well. Again, complete dominance over the power-ups again. Even though it's early days, there's still so many.
Yeah, 4-to-1 belts, 85 seconds to 4 seconds on the amps. And this isn't the easiest amp to get to, so this is a map where you have to challenge the amp, because all you have to do is throw rockets up there, throw goo. If nothing else, you want to damage them when they grab it. You're going to give it up. You want them to hurt. Ooh, goo straight to the face, but Reflex stands in there and delivers the amp sniper shot. Oh, and actually taking some enforcer damage here from Wasty. Not giving up on the play in Wasty. Not a whole lot of amp time left, but manages to stand in there and get the kill. So no quit here on the part of Mesa, rather, even though Allstars seems to be kind of, again, just grinding their way and pushing that differential higher and higher.
Yeah, look at the damage difference there as well. Already 5k damage for the Allstars team, so heading towards the 10k damage here. On on pace for it anyway.
More flak there coming in from Wasty. Great use of that. But not really in position. That's kind of what we're seeing here. Oh, nice shots there. So Wasty here having a good little flurry of shooting. Unfortunately, they don't really have the timing, so he's been waiting on that 100 armor since, well, the shield belt spawned in the meantime, right? So something they haven't had any opportunity to challenge.
Yeah, and they don't have timing on this amp as well, so it's already an uphill struggle as well. And it's also looking like Wasty's going to finally get an amp.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first amp they've picked up off the spawn. Already double their time because they only had 4 seconds before. Doesn't get much done with it. Great job with the communication and teammate sliding over. And, you know, that's so huge in 2v2. Again, you never want to fight 2v1. You always want to fight with the advantage, I should say, right? So calling out opponents, getting your teammates to flank. Incepto's getting headshot, standing still typing. I think there's a little bit of a tilt-in effect, and Reflex really doesn't care much. He's just here to to shoot faces and chew bubblegum. Inceptos goes ahead and concedes, and that'll be map 2, so another point on the board for Allstars.
It's the duels or nothing for Mesa. Let's play CTF Inceptos.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Inceptos and Wasty, for that matter, not experienced, don't have the TDM experience of reflex and killing. So, you know, again, like, they're still kind of playing catch up. And a lot of those moments, like I was saying, you know, the comebacks, you know, when the timings get out of sync, that's the hard part about turning that corner, getting over that hump as a TDM team. So honestly, not surprised to see, you know, see Mesa kind of, I don't know about struggling, but that's, you know, that's where they are. That's where they are in their development. And if they can try to shore that up, they have the playoffs to do so. I mean, that's the thing, is if they can push up and they can be the high seed, they're going to have the advantage in the beginning of the playoffs. So they've got, like you said, a week to scram. They've got a couple matches before they have to play some of these top tier teams again if they make it. Because Allstars and SAS, again, going straight to the semifinals. So still some practice to be had for whoever ends up going to face those two.
Yeah, and these are huge duels coming up for Mesa. And we'll see how they pan out. Obviously, got to bear that one in mind. They can afford and probably should play the duels just a little bit more differently than what they normally would. Instead of just going all frag out and frag heavy, maybe just actually take some time just to come up with a little game plan and have an objective to work to. Sorry.
Yeah, so typically it looks like Fantasy and Sir was the first duel set up there. It looks like Sir might not be available, so they might have to Joker someone else in and replace him. Not sure who that'll be. Demon versus Last would be the second one set up. Now, the interesting thing is, to my knowledge, the map picks and the map bans were done with Fantasy versus Sir in mind. So I don't know what happens if they have to sub someone in, if they're going to redo those map picks. Fantasy has a game hosted on a race. I don't know if that was a warm-up game or not.
I will, my game has crashed for some reason, so I'll need to quickly reboot. Because I can't actually get back on my home screen, so I'll just be right back a few.
I'm going to go ahead and restart my game while we're at it, just for giggles. Give you guys a look at those rankings while we're doing that. Yeah, one thing of note that I find interesting, 1v1 CTF doesn't seem to be a thing in this game, which I'm A-okay with. But we also don't have a version of Thorns. I remember 1v1 Thorns used to be the half joking and half super ultra serious, you know, challenge to throw down to people. Don't see that anymore. I'm kind of surprised there's no Thorns that I've seen in UT4. All right, so do see Fantasy's game still up. Still not sure who his opponent will be. Potential for exit next right. Sir was listed. I've heard that they're maybe having a sub for him. I guess Last could take his place and they could sub Last's second duel with someone else. But anyway, I'm gonna jump in Discord, see if there's any clarity there.
All right, we're back. Jump straight back in.
Yeah, don't mind me. Still trying to pick up pick up on some info from the Discord conversations.
What's the latest on the news today, Con?
Well, it looks like the UTProLeague website has updated with some of the playoff info, or at least the final updated rankings. Of course, we still have 2 duels left, which is almost weird to say. This has been such a long season, and so now we're sitting here, and we're almost done with the regular season. So strange to be this far in. Been 2 months worth of Sundays sitting here yelling at the internet about video games.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been 9 weeks already, to be honest with you. It feels half of that. It's gone so quick. And obviously we've got one more weekend left, should I say.
Yeah, again, that's going to be something, you know, we can take a look at actually while we're here. We'll refresh the pages, get all of the updated info. Of course, we do have a whole host of games lined up for you next weekend. It's going to start off on Saturday. I'm going to say that again. It's going to start off on Saturday. It's going to start off on Saturday. I don't want anybody to come through on Sunday and be like, what happened? I missed the earlier games. They were Saturday. What? Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your dog. I don't care. You should all be watching next week. And you can see they're starting to fill in some of the teams. So it looks like we have qualifier number 2 is going to be DW versus Baguette. That's already decided, number 6 versus number 7. This number 5 playing Shooksters in the first round, still to be determined depending on this match. So coming into these final matches, a lot of that's still up in the air, I should say. But we will have, of course, Saints and Sinners finishing number 1, Allstars finishing number 2. And so they get to just skip tomorrow. They can just watch it and pull out their notepad and draw X's and O's or whatever the case may be. They basically get a free day of scouting.
Yeah, and that can be really important as well, because you're coming up against a team that are going to be in the playoff mindset. And sometimes that can be a different kind of game when you're going into the playoff as well. You might see teams not being aggressive. You might see teams playing a little bit more aggressive. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you were playing one single game too, sometimes I say, you know, when teams have to wait and have to sit out for a while, it can be, I don't know, almost distracting. But when you're playing potentially, you know, multiple hours straight, because on that Sunday games, we're going to have the semifinals and then the finals. After, you know, in between, there's a third place game. But basically, any given team is going to play 2 matches that day. So that's potentially 4 or 5 hours or so of game time for those teams. So, yeah, I mean, being able to come into that and just have that long play day fresh versus having already played multiple matches the night before, definitely a big advantage. And I mean, that's what you earn, right? Like Saints and Sinners and All-Stars, long season, and that's the benefit of finishing first and second. So interesting that 3rd, 4th, and 5th still up in the air right now, pending these last 2 duels.
Also, as well, like touching up on that, you can also arguably say as well that if you finish first and second, you get that bye through to the semi-finals. You've already got a team. Sometimes that can actually not work in your favor. It really depends. Sometimes the day off can be nice, but also you've got a recent kind of matchup on the day, so you're going to be the warmer team regardless, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's always that whole thing, right? Like rust versus rest.
Absolutely. I'd rather have the rest, personally.
As someone who has been known to take naps in between matches, I'm right there with you. Looks like... okay, it looks like Exit Next Right might be on the way to replace Sir. I think that's a fair replacement. He has often been their number 1 dueler throughout the season. So having Exit Next Right first, often Sir has been the second dueler. So we're basically going to do what they would normally do, but then replace Sir with Lass. So pretty fair. I think that's something they've done a couple times already this season. So Fantasy versus Exit Next Right should be the first matchup. Then Demon versus Last will stay as the second matchup. I do wonder if they're gonna allow them to reban maps or how that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but also as well, I want to quickly turn your attention to if you I will actually just send you this before. Check your PM real quick.
Interesting. So that I think is something. I think maybe we'll wait for an official admin announcement for that, and make sure things are kind of finalized and worded correctly there. But yeah, certainly some potential news that could implicate, or not implicate, that could impact the playoffs.
It's not bad news. Don't worry. It's not like a change of format or anything like that. I mean, number 1 and 2 seeders still going to be playing in the Bide semi-finals.
Okay, it looks
so
like Fantasy left the serve, so maybe he's rehosting, or maybe they're going to a different hub.
Quite possibly. Let's have a look.
I don't see Exit next right. Looks like Fantasy rehosted. I don't see Exit in the hub right now, but they did say in Discord that he's on the way, so. So we'll give him a minute there. Yeah, so we got one player in, just need the other half of that equation. All right, well, I'm gonna take just 20-second break real quick. So I'll leave the rankings page up and we'll wait for the server to get full. I'm gonna step away. I'll be back in just one moment. You guys can listen to Dusek ramble for a little while.
All right. I think I got this. So after Jules, we'll do a quick overview of the matchups. Yep. So we'll go through everything, and we'll go through a little bit of detail as well, and chat with you guys as well, and share some of our insights as well, along with any news that we might need to share. We'll just see if there's anything that we need to spill out before playoffs and whatnot. So obviously, as well as that, guys, thank you to Rage Your Edge Gaming for hosting us in this event, and thank you for all the organizers. Thank you for the admins and all of you players as well who are crazy enough to be playing this late if you're European. I guess it's still a Sunday. Will you be casting as your duel for Allstars? How do you know I'm not dueling? I don't know why you all want me to duel for. Not a clue. But as always, guys, UTProLeague.com is when you're going to find all your information in regards to the league that we have now. We're on season 3 now. It's actually gone by pretty quick. It doesn't feel that long ago since season 1, to be honest with you. And yes, please, you do need to update my URLs. Appreciate it. Thank you. A lot of people are saying I've seen 2 people now saying about me dueling, and it's not happening, guys. Like I'm not. It's not happening.
It looks like we might be switching things up. So it looks like Demon and Last might be jumping in first, and then maybe we'll wait for that for Exit to come around. I think it was having some issues connecting. So second duel first would be Demon versus Last, and then I think we'll have Exit next right versus Fantasy after that. So jumping in the server now and getting things rolling.
Yeah, I'm looking for this duel as well. Demon earlier against Slay had a really nice game. So whether he can carry that on as well, really nice player is Demon. Really mature, it has to be said, like a really mature kind of organized player.
Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, relatively new to Duel. Has obviously been on Allstars, so been around, pretty good talent for a while. And there's a lot of times you pick up on even things as simple as practice habits. But of course, just having that soundboard and just asking people and practicing against them and whatever the case may be can really rub off on you. So Last and Demon are in. Looks like they're getting ready to go. I mean, they both should be pretty warm at this point.
Yeah, And we'll see if the tactic is going to apply to Lass as well, whether he's going to go all out and chase the kills, or whether he's going to kind of play back a little bit and just look for sightlines and look for the audio cues as well. So it'll be interesting.
Yep, looks like both players are ready, and here is your countdown. 3, 2, 1. And it's game time, baby. Connex 5. I'm here with Dusik, bringing you the first duel of the last matchup of Season 3. We got Lass versus Demon. And actually a pretty chill start to this one. Kind of surprising. We've seen so many really aggressive starts today where people get initial kills, first bloods within 10 seconds. Both kind of playing ring around the rosy here.
Yeah, just try to juggle kind of Lass around this bottom area there, and that's a big shot there.
Yeah, Lass is someone who, especially in duel, like, he's really the epitome of what we described in the TDM style of Mesa. He wants to just, like, shoot. He just wants to say, hey, let's just dive at each other, shoot, 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 and whoever hits more shots wins. He's very streaky. He can be on fire at times. He can also miss a few shots in a row sometimes, even ones that he kind of should hit. But whenever he's on fire, I mean, if he can force that to just be a straight frag fest, that's when he's at his best, is being hyper aggressive. We saw him, who did he play against? Oh man, I completely forget. He had a crazy set of duels. Was it last week? Was it Slay that he played against? But in any case, when Lass is hyper aggressive, he can really make some things happen in duel. It's kind of really all I'm getting at there.
Yeah, you kind of usually associate those kind of players as ones that will just be really quick around the map as well and just wants to get things done. So when you go on those moments like that and you're moving around the map and you're moving quick, that also makes it really hard for the other player as well, especially no matter how good they are, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the classic description, I guess, would be a plus forward player, right? Like, he likes to be aggressive, likes to mix it up. Very hard to get comfortable against a player like that. I mean, look at that. Demon had the high ground, had every advantage, and that just instantly dissipated. He did manage to do enough damage to Lass where he might be able to finish him off here, but look, Demon down to 8 HP. Look how quickly Lass was able to turn around that health and armor advantage. Big play here with the combo by Lass. Demon went for it all. If he got touched by anything before grabbing that belt, he was going to go down.
That escape was everything more that you could have asked for on that one. That wall run as well, just to escape as quickly as you can.
And another combo.
Rewarded.
Threading the needle. Lass with the chase, and I was about to say, chasing him down with 63 HP. A lot of people after getting that kill would have backed up, grabbed an armor, maybe like topped off their health, but he went straight for the chase because that's just his play style. And sometimes it backfires and sometimes it works out. Either way, it can be very intimidating.
Yeah, and when you're pushing someone like that, you're looking for that spawn kill. You're looking to catch someone with just an enforcer.
Ooh, risky play by Demon. Hits 2 snipes in a row. I don't know if he meant to double back on him like that, but he definitely came face to face with him. Lass still in control though, but Demon shoots his way back into it, and these two are just hitting huge shots back and forth. Nobody's really been able to get particularly stacked in this matchup because they're just doing so much damage to each other.
Again, we have Lass with a shield out there as well, and Demon not looking too pretty, but he does manage to pick up a little bit of health. Looking for this 100 armor.
Oh, and the combo from behind takes him out. Demon only 51 HP, but able to get that 100 armor. Interesting, he went for the spawn kill instead of picking up the health. He's still looking for it. There it goes. I thought maybe he was going to miss it and get linked down, but all right, still maintains control and back in the lead, really more importantly.
Both of these players just using the wall run so effectively. It's actually really nice on the eye.
Yeah, you can really move around this map in some interesting ways. It's kind of it kind of reminds me of Refinery in the 2K4 days, which incidentally I think some folks have worked on remakes for in this game as well. But kind of a jungle gym, a lot of ways to, especially with the wall runs, change up your positioning. I mean, especially with infinite wall dodge, that's something that's a little bit underutilized in this game. Oh, big combo on Lass. That could be a critical kill right there. Lass drop down, and again, that's Lass's playstyle. He's gonna flip that coin and go all or nothing. Unfortunately for Demon, he was able to just completely anticipate it. Ooh, and dodges the rocket. There's a big flat by Lass to shoot his way right back into it, but he just plays on that razor's edge, and getting up close with that flag melts Demon's armor away, and it's a big fight over this 100 armor, but Last gets stuck in the corner, and now respawns right in front. And this could be a big chance, halfway point for Demon to really push forward and go on top big.
Yeah, Last probably just getting a little bit too eager to try and obtain one of the pickups, one of the power-ups, should I say. As you see him just diving in when it spawns and getting punished for it. So sometimes if you're going up early for it, you're going to get punished for it. Ooh.
More nice shots being traded, and again, this time 18 HP. Demon comes away. Unfortunately for Last, I mean, the shield belt is actually going to absorb a lot more damage. So can't just chase him down with Enforcer or anything like that. Does take him down to 43/12. And this is where that aggression can pay off when you're trying to get a retaliation kill. Go on board with Last and see what it looks like from his perspective. He still has plenty of time on his side, especially on this map. Demon right now just playing to stay alive. Ooh, but Last getting way out ahead of himself. He's here 5 seconds before the 100 armor spawns. That's not going to do him any good. That's going to allow Demon to get stacked back up on health and grab a shock rifle. And that was a big mistake by Last. It's not going to be a crazy frag that's going to show up in a highlight reel, but that moment right there was actually really big for control purposes.
And a missed combo there as well. Has to hit one. Has to find something here.
Oh, surprised he pulled out Sniper, and there it was right there. Last actually had rockets in the bag. Decided to pull out the Sniper, maybe going for it all. One rocket could have done it. So could a headshot also, but instead.
I think in that scenario,
aggressive.
Yeah, I think in that shield belt scenario, you're looking at the rocket anyway because you're going to push the opponent back. So it's going to get you a little bit of a leeway to try and pick up that shield belt.
Yeah, and that could just be old habits. I mean, I believe Last goes back to the 2K4 days, maybe even the UT99 days. And sometimes, you know, different games, you have different habits of the weapon you default to pulling out in a situation like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Demon playing really nicely between the lines there as well, finding a couple of hits here and there as well, and gets another kill. Gets rewarded.
Ooh, rockets coming out back and forth. If you're Demon at this point, though, you can kind of chill because you got a 7-frag lead. On this map, 7 frags in 3 minutes is... Oh, and there's a big combo, and I think that's going to be GG right there. They might play it out, but I think with an 8-frag lead and 2.5 minutes to go, you're not going to lose that on a race unless you're trying.
No, because Demon has all the time in the world. He doesn't need to really pick any fights from here on. He can just kind of run away and just dictate a fight whenever he wants to. And Last knows that he has to push even harder now, and that's just going to create so much more openings for Demon. Completely stacked up right now. Yeah.
So, 2 minutes to go. You saw the killing spree there. I mean, at this point, Demon completely stacked, just kind of running the map. So I think this one's been over for a bit. Last, you know, sometimes you just try to get one more frag before going to the next map. Or just kind of warm up, you know, throw some combos around. He did give up that shield belt there. But it is best of 3, right? So anything can happen.
Anything can happen still.
And I do believe this was Demon's map pick, if I'm not mistaken. So be curious what Last picked against him. I don't feel like Last has a super different weapon selection play style to Demon. So I wonder if he picked something like ASDF. I actually have the document open, but I think it's more fun to speculate sometimes. You see him throwing him a weapon. Okay, they might piston joust here. Here we go. This is for the more importantly than UTPL, this is for Master of the Universe. Oh, Demon.
Oh, there we go.
And there you go. Last gonna concede off of that one. Until next time. I mean, you can see that. I mean, a good damage lead, 550, but not a ton. It was just that power-up control. I mean, 6-2 belts really tells the story. Demon really just got in control, and that's that play style that we talked about with Last, all or nothing. He would dive in there, had opportunities to come away, you know, coin toss fights, and Demon just didn't let it rattle him. And that's the thing too. Credit Demon, when you play against a hyper aggressive player like that, you know, sometimes it can shake you because you're used to people playing like quote unquote smart. In other words, like methodical, like, okay, are you used to people running away from you when they should or when you expect them to. And when you turn that corner and someone with 75 HP is rushing you with Link, sometimes you can panic a little bit. Didn't though. He pretty much kept his cool and knew exactly what to expect.
Yeah, and Demon with some really nicely placed combos there as well, and that's what you have to do against those hyper-aggressive players, is put combos in the right places, because you know they're going to be W keying towards you anyway, so a nice defensive combo.
Yeah, aggression makes you predictable. Is the word I'm fishing for there, so definitely something Demon can use to his advantage, and that's an experience thing. And when we talked about Demon, you know, to my knowledge, he's relatively new to Duel, but been playing with some of the best, so showing some maturity there, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I was touching up from this on the stream that we had the other day as well. There's so much young players coming through. It's just a shame that UT's a little bit too late.
Yeah, well, here we go. We're jumping right into this one. Man, it's game time, baby. Connex 5 leading you in with Dusik. We'll continue that conversation in a bit. We're going to have the open of map number 2 here. We just saw Demon taking a race early on, damaged by Lass. And this is an interesting map choice. If Lass wants to try to force the issue, I think this is a map he can close that gap a little bit quicker on. I still think he's probably at his best when he's using Shock. So, you know, interesting, because from a weapon selection standpoint, you're not going to use a lot of that pure hit scan aim on this map. It's going to be a lot more rockets and flak. Ooh, and the combos by Demon, though, maintain their efficacy so far.
Yeah, and Demon's Link is a pretty strong one as well, and especially when you got him firing those combos at you defensively, and kind of getting these shots and then rushing with the Link. And Demon, just incredible at the moment.
Yeah, our Demon right now is on fire, and Lass is the kind of player who's not going to be deterred by that, but he's just going to look for an opening. He's just going to, you know what it is? I think a player like Lass, those hyper-aggressive players, they almost play harder the more that you're beating them, right? Like they sort of get mad. And they just like charge even harder, and sometimes, you know, that goes one way or the other. It definitely swings the pendulum either back towards the middle or further away. And right now, Demon doing everything he can to make sure that it just puts him further in the lead.
Yeah, and also with sometimes overlook this, or at least I do sometimes, is you get the choice of the spawn as well. You can always just kind of wait a little bit, give you that extra kind of 2 seconds just to make the player who's going to be pushing you, or the player who's in control, just kind of think twice the way you spawn.
Yeah, I mean, we see that all the time where people will guess, you know, immediately. It's kind of like old fighting games, or not say old fighting games, new fighting games too, where, you know, you can do the quick recovery, and everyone does it like 99% of the time. But then sometimes if you don't do it, it throws people off their rhythm, and they, oh, big combo there. But yeah, you can throw them off their rhythm.
Yeah. One thing I really love about Demon is he just got this arrogance about him as well, and that is every good player has arrogance. Let's face it, you have to have that kind of little bit of I want to, yeah, it's what it is, and the link battle there as well. So just that little bit of arrogance, and I think that's what makes Demon like really, really strong in these kind of matchups. We've got the hit scan battle here as well. No one's thinking twice. It's just going to be it's one pound for pound.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Demon too, like Lass we talked about. I mean, I think Lass is most scary when he's running around with a sniper rifle. Honestly, he's hyper aggressive, so a map like this, you know, kind of plays to that style. But I also think that he's at his best when he's just running around sniping his head off and treating it like it's insta-give or something. Yeah. But Demon is someone that can stay with him when he's in that scenario, right? Like Demon, I don't know if he's out-aimed him by much, but he's at least, you know, traded with him. And then with everything else on top of that, like the control and the patience and all that, yeah, that's really why we're seeing an 8-0 game right now.
Yeah, I mean, Lass hasn't hit any sniper shots. Well, he's hit one. He's got 6% accuracy, and somehow he has 101% accuracy with a flat cannon. So that's interesting.
Yeah, there's some funny. I don't know if it's like the blueprints in the map itself or what the deal is, but yeah, you'll notice a lot of times crazy percentages with projectile weapons on Leah. I'm not sure if that's because of like direct hits plus splash, or if there's some weirdness there, or what the deal is, but yeah. kind of go out the window whenever you're playing. You see rockets sometimes being like 120% accuracy.
Yeah, ooh. Might be
Big
an opening
combo
for
through
Lass
the
here.
ground, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're only halfway through this one, but he's going to have to hit some key shots, and Demon has just answered. I think every time Lass has been aggressive, and you've had that opportunity, Demon just hits the one shot that turns him away.
Yeah, and Lass keeps falling for it every time. You're seeing Demon just kind of show himself for a little bit, go around the corner, just wait there for a couple of seconds, and there appears Lass straight into his crosshair. So it's more of the same every kind of fight they have, pretty much.
Ooh, big combo chases him down. Trying to go up the lift with him. So Lass, maybe with an opportunity to go on the board, and there is the first kill, and that might just be a moral victory there for Lass. Like, that might be one where he just wants to get on the board. We'll go see from Lass's perspective. I mean, he still has 5 minutes to go, and with a hyper-aggressive style, you know, anything can happen. Nice combo going down range. Just needs one more shot if he can find him at the health packs. Demon just outran them there. That was a foot race, and Demon won it by a mile.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I like the rocket by Lass, but just didn't do enough damage. And there's a shot. That's what he was looking for. Now looking for the spawn kill. And that's a smart spawn by Demon there. You notice how he spawned running away from his opponent, away from where he was going. Oh, but nice combos there. Lass right now on fire with his combos. Going in the mid-air. The mid-air thank you. I like that move. That's a clutch shot right there.
Oh, got to set the trap for the bios.
Yeah, this is a map. Of any map to set a bio trap, like, this is the one to do it in. Oh, you saw the window snipe. The patience looking for it. Can't hit him. There's the headshot falling away, pulling within 5. Still not a lot of time left, but... Oh, Lass runs out of shock ammo. That's not going to help. So you got 20 seconds till the 100 armor spawns. Still another minute until the next belt. Demon was able to snag it right from in front of him. Lass controlling that shock, but still only half ammo. He's put in big time work with the shot combos in the last couple minutes. Ooh, they just standing toe to toe, charging those rockets, seeing who flinches first. And the problem that you're gonna have if you're Lass here is that Demon can basically run away and kite you for the rest of the game. This is a map you can definitely run away from, throw rockets behind you, just bait people into chasing you. And with 3 minutes to go, ooh, Demon actually with the really sneaky little combo placement up top there. He decided not to combo it, maybe didn't want to give up his positioning, but I like the shock ball. Lass answering back, looking for the flak, but Demon combos him right back. And baits him again, and I think that's going to do it. Look at that.
Spawns on him as well.
Only a 41 damage difference between these two. But you look at that 6-1 belts, 6-5 100 armors, and I mean, that's the story of the game right there.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, there's a couple more 100 damage by Demon, but yeah, I mean, at that point, you know, just not all about damage, and that's been the story of this whole matchup, even in the TDM games, right? Like, Mesa has not been lacking for fragging ability. It's just the experience level, the control that goes right on top of it.
I think a lot of it is the discipline as well. Too much aggression, in my opinion. Just to dial it in just a little bit. Use it at the right times by all means, but probably just a little bit too aggressive all across the board. But heading into playoffs, need to try and put a lid on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something we saw Allstars do to them. We talked about on Defiance, right? Like, whenever Mesa was able to grab control of that sniper area, what did Allstars do? Rather than charging at them when they saw it was lost, they said, okay, fine, well, we're going to regroup in this other side of the map, get everyone, you know, a couple of shield belts, get everyone shock rifles in their hands, and then we'll push together. And it's not about not being aggressive. It's about choosing your moments, like you said. And I think that that's really translated into the duel portion as well.
That's what happens when you're a really aggressive player as well. You want to be seeing the people. You want to be getting the shots off. And if that's not happening, you're just going to keep pushing and pushing. And you're going to become very frustrated very early. Yeah,
I mean, I give Lass a lot of credit, too, in that he he always seems to have a pretty good attitude about it, as far as like he's a good loser, I guess you'd say, which sounds like a backhanded compliment, but I mean, you know, when someone's like, you know, down in a situation like this, they might get frustrated, they might start typing. We've seen some of that today, right? But I think he'll still be in good spirits afterwards. And again, ready to gear up for the playoffs, because his regular season will be over in 45 seconds, and we will have one more duel to end this season.
Been a long but short 9 weeks.
We had so much content created, so many games played. Oh, the mid-air rocket just came up short.
I like the idea as well that this whole entire season has been one division as well. It's been like one kind of unit, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, it does allow, I think, more room for surprises. You've seen a lot of teams kind of move up and down. I mean, you've seen some roster changes from season to season. Certainly, we talked about, you know, teams like Mesa and like LATAM that we saw earlier in action. Teams that I wouldn't say have surprised, but have, you know, kind of developed over time. Teams that were created for UTPL, right? So
I think so.
In any case, yeah, an interesting duel there to go back and watch. Another one where, you know, damage wasn't the whole story. So, you know, we keep talking about like the strategy involved, and we keep talking about the textbook and all of that. You know, it just proves it out. Like we're not just saying that because that's what old people say. So one duel left. It'll be fantasy for Allstars, and I believe they're gonna try to bring in exit next right. And keep in mind, they still need that point. I don't know where they stand with the tiebreakers currently, because there's like 2 to 3 levels of tiebreakers between LATAM and Mesa right now. But if they can win this last duel and get that point, they'll skip all of that, go straight to that 4th seed, and get that extra bye. So Fantasy's got a server up, ready for whoever decides to jump in. Exit next right's in the hub, so it looks like that will be who it is. Again, #1 dueler most of the season for Mesa, so not shocking there to see him jumping in, and we'll see what happens.
Yep, so a race again. I gotta say, I really like this map for Duel. I think it gives you everything.
I do think this is also a map that different playstyles can thrive on.
Yeah. Just for a complete hit scanner like me, this is a dream for me to play. I love how this map kind of feels in Duel.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was a little worried when I first played it. Sometimes, as an example, you know, I said it reminds me of Refinery in 2K4. And sometimes you could feel like, okay, maybe it could be a little dominated by Shock or Sniper. And we've seen those maps, or those games, those matches where 2 players that are just pinging each other from across the map turn it into a real slow game. That can happen, but we've also seen the opposite. So it really comes down to the players. But all right, here we go. Players are ready. We're going to be jumping into this one right about now-ish. Here is your countdown. 3, 2, 1. Man, it's game time, baby. Connex 5 here with Dusik jumping in. Last duel of the season. Still, everything not quite decided. Mesa looking for one more point. Their last opportunity to try to lock down that 4th place, not have to deal with tiebreakers and all of that complex arithmetic. Allstars Fantasy here looking to play the spoiler. They've already locked up 2nd seed for next weekend's playoffs, but we'll see what they can bring us here. Exit taking damage early on, and he's going to be on the run.
Yep, so forfeits the 100 armor just to go for the 50 there, and Exit is just going to try and play for sightlines. He's going to try and pick fights whenever he can, not do it when Fantasy is available too, so it's all going to be on his terms by the looks of it.
Ooh, Exit jumps down, trying to get the defensive piston. Unfortunately, he's a couple seconds early, and he backs away, so not a terrible outcome there for Exit. He was in a really bad position, but able to get away with 100 armor, 35 HP. If he can get to some health, he doesn't want to drop down right there. Oh, he tries to be sneaky. I think he missed the jump there that he wanted, and he slows down the rocket and survives, but will still go down. So Exit there was feeling a little bit desperate, but at least we'll get a little bit of damage on Fantasy. Fantasy, though, remember, was a little out of sorts in his duel earlier today. Kind of tilted a little bit, so probably has a lot to prove here to himself to kind of come back and for his team as well.
Yeah, he was a little bit stuck for his duel, but he's looking to definitely get some redemption and at least kind of put himself back up there a little bit. Sometimes, again, it's more the mental than anything. You kind of get the self-doubt. Even if you lose a game, very easy to fall into that mindset.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this will be their last match until the semifinals on Sunday because they've got that bye round. So you certainly want to end on a good note, right? Like you don't want to go into that match, the single elimination playoffs, on a bad note. You know, you want to be confident, you want to be feeling strong and good about it. So certainly every reason for All-Stars to try to win every possible match in this matchup, and they've done just that so far.
Yeah, they've done a really good job throughout the whole thing, to be honest with you. The 4v4s was a little bit of an iffy one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been a situation where Exit, I don't think he was standing still, but maybe was being a little blindly aggressive. And honestly, maybe Fantasy is seeing shades of himself from his prior duel early in the day, if we're being honest. Maybe seeing Exit being a little bit distracted or perhaps, you know, a little bit frustrated. And I don't think he was trying to psych him out there, I'll put it that way.
No. I think it was a genuine question, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's good sportsmanship as well, and that's something we always love to see, though, isn't it? Amongst all the talk that we get and the competitive talk, I would like to add there as well. It's also nice to see the good sportsmanship there from Fantasy as well, from any player.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, you know, the more you play with people, I mean, playing either on the same teams, on different teams, I think you get a lot of that, like, familiarity with people and not just as players. And definitely, you know, you get a lot of folks in the North American community, like these guys have hung out, right? Some of these guys have shared rooms together at events. So, again, you kind of get that, you kind of know them as the person behind. It's not just the name on the internet.
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of changes everything, doesn't it?
It can, yeah, for sure. It definitely changes your perspective. The first couple LAN events I went to, luckily I had the opportunity, you know, to do that at an earlier age. Definitely kind of, you know, it feels totally different. It's no longer anonymous, and you can sit there and kind of just like talk about someone in their family, you know, over a beer or whatever. It definitely has a total different feel to it. Ooh, the is this a taunt? Is this a taunt goo?
I think it is.
Fantasy powering up here, trying to reach his max power level. He's actually max power right now at 199 over 150. So
just slowing the pace of it down as well. Knows he's got it.
So here's the 5-minute warning. We're halfway through map 1. Fantasy on top. I do believe this was his map pick as well. Curious rather, what Exit will pick. Exit's interesting because he's actually excelled sometimes on, I don't know, less commonly chosen maps. Like I don't think he can pick Bone against Fantasy because Fantasy is an old UT3 player, so he's going to be familiar with it. But he might pick something like Deep and have an opportunity there. And again, I have the document that tells me exactly what he picked, but I'd really like to speculate. I think it's more fun this way.
Yeah, I think I've seen him play some duels in this season on Deep as well, and he's really thrived on it. But Fantasy's also thrived on it as well, so I mean, I'm not sure what the map pick is. I haven't actually seen, but it will be interesting.
Yeah, so at the little past the halfway point of this one, looks like Fantasy kind of running the clock out a little bit. He's happy to run around with a 7 frag lead and just sort of coast. Just kind of draining that clock dry. Ooh, mid-air rockets on Exit, and that's not much you can do about that. Even if you're stacked, those double rockets do so much damage.
I think Fantasy's looking for the frag movie now by the looks of it.
Yeah, sometimes you see, actually, you know, from Mesa, you see Sir do that sometimes. He knows he has a match in hand or knows it's already over. He'll try to run around and do the 360 combos or something like that. Looks like these two kind of know this one's over, just sort of playing it out a bit. And if you're exit next right, you know, maybe trying to psych yourself up a little bit for map 2. I mean, if you're feeling a little out of sorts, you know, maybe you just kind of shake, you know, literally shake your head and your hands and kind of loosen up. Maybe you throw some combos around, bounce around the map, and just use this almost like another warm-up mode.
And that's why I really I don't like the idea of conceding duels so early on, is the fact that you want to try and build up a little bit of momentum going into map 2 as well, and a little bit of a warm-up as well.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the classic scenario is if you're getting ready for map 2, you know, maybe you just get that one kill, or maybe you just want to end their killing spree or whatever. You know, you hate to end it with a 0 on the board, and you hate to end it with your opponent on a long spree either. So whether you get to that one, for me, when I was, I mean, still, if I dueled, I would end up in situations where I had negatives probably. When you have a negative on the board, I hated ending matches with a negative. I would do anything just to get that down, at least to 0, preferably at least 1, right? Even if you lose 20 to 1, at least you lost, at least you got 1 on the board, right? There's a mental game there as well. And one more big shot could end that spree. If exit next right can get in his face, there's the big falling shot and another one. 3 big snipes there by exit. So, I mean, you know, showing his aim isn't necessarily off right now. Just, oh, and another sniper. So, you know, and that's the thing. Even if you conceded now, you've ended that game. You know, you've broken the spree. You've gotten 1 on the board. You've hit a few big shots in a row. You at least can kind of like build some confidence in yourself. Go, okay, so I'm not... and another shot. So exit next right actually kind of on fire right now. That's 6 snipers in a row.
That was pretty ridiculous, actually. I'm going to have a quick look at his sniper accuracy. It's on 54.5%, 22 shots fired.
Yeah, I mean, so again, that's the kind of thing, like exit next right's not going to come back and win this map, but sometimes it feels like everything you do in a duel is wrong, and you're just like, God, there's nothing I can do. And then sometimes when you can just spend the last 30 seconds and all of a sudden things go right, you can kind of break that mindset and go, okay, so things can go my way if I just get myself in a better position, maybe even just play a different map, right? Like, and that can sometimes be the trigger. That can flip that switch from already beating yourself twice to going, it's a falling headshot there. So exit really turning on his aim towards the end of this one. Maybe we'll see that bleed a little bit into the map too.
Yeah, I'd like to, are you going to play map 2 like this? Oh, right, okay. I think I understand it now. Yeah.
So 11-3 your final score, where this was over a while ago. You can actually see more damage technically by exit, but I think the last few minutes were sort of just, I don't know, glorified warm-up mode. But exit, though, ending on a strong aim exhibition, if you will. So I don't know. I don't know where he's at mentally right now. Fantasy, I don't know if he knows where exit is mentally right now, but I guess he has to go into the map too, just presuming he's playing against the best player in the world, just like you always do, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So ASDF will be the map pick. Not a shocking pick to me. I think Exit's at his best in the mid-range fighting. Likes a lot of combos. Actually, I think to a certain extent,
Hail to the king, baby.
benefits from gameplay similar to Sir, who he's kind of technically replacing here.
Yep. So Fantasy really, really strong on this map, especially looking at the sightlines with Sniper, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep, here is your countdown jumping right in, and it's game time, baby. Connex 5 finishing off this season strong here with Dusik casting Fantasy versus Exit next right. Fantasy just taking map 1. A bit of a strange in there. Looked like Fantasy was running things. Exit a little bit discouraged, but maybe shot himself back into it mentally. Not sure that'll carry over, but Fantasy with a quick the quick kill early on and maybe looking for more.
Yeah, you can see him standing still as well. Exit taking a long time to spawn there as well. And this is what I was saying with the previous duel as well, just taking that extra second just to kind of see where your opponent is, trying to throw him off.
Yeah,
Try
and
chase
especially
another
like
spawn down.
like you saw Fantasy there, he threw a combo out guessing where he would spawn. Sometimes your opponent can guess right, but have the timing off, right? If you hesitate and you throw off that timing, they'll guess one, they'll think, okay, well, you didn't spawn there, you go to the next one, and then the opponent will spawn right behind you at that first spawn because they waited a couple seconds. That can be huge.
Ooh, the spawn kill there as well.
Yeah, Fantasy
Pretty big.
looking just on fire right now. And Exit kind of getting caught out of position. Ooh, and going mid-air, just so dangerous to go up there. Especially against the player. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't really think that Fantasy's moved that much, to be honest with you. He's really stayed in this kind of half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really been stretched much, right? I mean, he's just been all over the armors. I mean, if you're not looking to deny health, 50, flak, or sniper, you know, you can just kind of hang around that. Ooh, that's shock, but he's out of shock ammo. Got one left, not going to get a kill on it. He'll be running around with sniper for a bit. Rocket's going to push Exit a little bit back, but he might... Oh, circles back around to get the kill and the belt. And Fantasy right now is going to delay it just a few seconds. Going to do some bunny hopping. Getting ready for maybe Quaker Diabolical or something. Maybe Fantasy just practicing for whatever he's playing after this.
Bunny Track World Championships.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You can see the mind games there, picking up. So every time he picks up one of those weapons, he's making noise. And some people do that to just play around. Looks like he's goofing off at this point. Some people do that to specifically play mind games to confuse the enemy player. Because if you hear someone picking up sniper rifle, obviously you're going to presume they're by the sniper rifle.
Yeah, it's a pretty good play as well, actually. Now that I've never really thought about it like that before. I've never really thought about going into that.
Which you'll sometimes see.
Anyway.
Which you'll sometimes see is people doing it like around the corner from that weapon. Like maybe they'll throw the shock rifle down and pick it up, and then expect the opponent to come around the corner and shoot at it. And meanwhile, you're behind the corner from them, and you kind of it's like a double reverse ambush kind of galaxy brain move.
Thanks, Con. I'll use that in my next games.
It's one step above throwing a weapon at someone, so that if they have auto switch turned on, they'll switch to an empty weapon.
Oh, that's quite brutal, actually.
Yeah, that's an old school move. If you have a shock rifle or a rocket launcher with one ammo, just throw it at your opponent off the spawn. It'll automatically switch, so they'll have no gun out for a second. And even if they do get to shoot, it'll only have one ammo. And it'll switch right back to Enforcer.
I love it.
Yeah, we got people in chat. Tamer saying he'll sometimes fake hammer jump. I mean, that's definitely a move. You hear that even in TDM, even in CTF sometimes. You'll hear flag runners that nobody has eyes on them. They'll make it sound like they're taking the one jump. All the defense will overcommit to one side to stopping that, and then they'll sneak around the other side. I mean, using audio to your advantage, definitely a consideration. Right now, Fantasy looks like he has this one well in hand to finish off Mesa, and so then it will go to those tiebreakers. There's your concession. Fantasy well in hand, and Allstars. Let's see. Fantasy again asking what's up in chat. They can go, talk it out. But as it is, we'll go back and check out our rankings. I'm going to send you over to the website to close this one out. So we will...
We just saw that. Apologies, you carry on.
I was going to say, I'm just reloading the page here.